Hi and welcome to the second edition of Bud Spotlights. This week we are featuring Starling Bank. We're here with the lovely Anne Boden. Hi.
Hi.
And we are going to get kind of straight into it. So,
Okay.
Tell me about Starling Bank.
Well, Starling Bank's rather special in that we're creating a bank that's going to do one thing really, really well, and that's all about your day-to-day money. So everybody has a current account. But we're going to transform that current account into something really special. We're going to have all the services you get from your traditional bank, but we're going to give you something extra special on top.
Are you going to give us a little kind of hint as what the extra special is?
Well, Starling's been a bit of a secret over the last couple of months, whatever, or even last year. But what we're going to do is we're going to help people manage their money in a very new way, which is very intuitive. So every time you make a payment, every time you use your card, that should be an opportunity for the bank to give you some information, make your spending far more predictive. What we do is capture lots and lots of information around every transaction, and we use it to help you, the customer, make better decisions. We want to make sure that you have enough money for the end of the day, the end of the month, the end of the year, or even the end of your life. And what we're doing is using all the data for the customer's benefit, not for the bank's benefit.
So is that what you mean when you talk about a bank that's in sync with you?
Yeah, I think that in sync with you is really where we believe that a bank should be owned by the individual. The data should be owned by the individual. And it should be something that's always there. You know, every time you make a payment, there's an opportunity for the bank to help you make better decisions. And that's what in sync with you really means.
So do customers know that there's this hidden power with their data? Are you going to try and unlock that power for customers?
So I've been in banking a long time. You know, sort of my background is, I started as a computer scientist in Lloyds Bank many years ago. And I've gone through the banking industry as it's changed and morphed through different phases. But what I see at the moment is an organisation in many banks that's all about, taking the data they have and using it against the customer. What if we use that data for the customer's benefit? And that's what we're doing. We're using that data to make things better for the customer.
We were going to come on to, you're previously working at a traditional bank.
Yeah.
We might as well talk about it now. What are the main differences that you've, or rather, what are the main things that you experienced at a traditional bank, which you've tried to kind of wheedle out, or what things are you trying to introduce into the new setup of Starling?
Mm-hmm. Well, after many years of traditional banking, I've seen the evolution of banking through various stages. Starting off by what actually happened was the branch moved into telephone banking, and that moved into banking on the web, and that ended up on your mobile. Nobody's really thought of it from first principles. And back in 2011, I stepped away from my role at RBS, where I was heading transaction banking for EMEA, running a transaction business across 30 to 40 countries, and spent a year going around the world figuring out how technology and people's expectations of technology and banking had changed. And what I discovered was, music had changed people were buying music in a different way. People were shopping in a different way. But banking had really been stuck in the dark ages. And then I started looking at the technology that was available to lots of firms in the fintech world. And what was taking us hundreds of millions in traditional banking was being innovated and created far cheaper and far more in line to people's expectations in the fintech world. Well, I took all those ideas and I tried them out in a traditional bank, and we had huge success in Allied Irish banks in transforming the organisation and bringing it back to profitability.
Okay.
But there was a huge amount more to be done. And at that particular point, I thought it only could be done by starting from scratch.
It's interesting. And the team that you're assembling around Starling, have you brought in people who have that understanding of what technology can do kind of right the way down to the customer?
We're all very passionate about technology. I have a computer science degree computer science and chemistry degree from a long time ago. We have a number of people from very similar backgrounds. We have a great engineering team that have built banking as a platform systems in the past. And this group of people are reaching out into what's happened in the technology world in the last 5 or 6 years and bringing it to the banking world in the first time. We're using cloud technology. We're using quite exciting techniques to figure out what people want to do with their money. And I think that's probably a secret we're going to talk about in a few months' time.
Okay, okay. But you mentioned banking as a platform. For people who aren't kind of aware of what that means, do you want to just give us kind of a quick top line of banking as a platform?
Yeah, I think that if we talk about what's been happening where people traditionally start new banks, let's, for example, in the last couple of years, and I'd probably go back to 2013, following the financial services crisis, there was a lot of consolidation in the financial services industry. And as a result of that, the government said, we need new banks, we need more competition. And what happened was that they changed the regulation that allowed new banks to come to market. But most of those banks were quite traditional banks in either the SME or the commercial space. There were very, very few retail banks servicing retail customers. But when they did come to market, they were based on using traditional banking packages. Because it's easier. You want to start a bank, you buy a banking package. But if you buy the packages that the existing banks use, you get the products they have. And nothing really changes. We at Starling decided that we were going to build our systems from scratch. And what we've been doing is building a new banking platform, which actually allows products to be configured and delivered to customers in a whole new way.
Fantastic. Well, that's a good kind of overview of kind of how Starling's coming together. So we spoke a little bit about the products that you guys are offering, but I really want to get under the skin of what are people going to be raving about when they start using Starling?
Well, they're going to be raving about the fact that traditional banking products have asked the customer to do the hard work. Okay, traditional banking products, it's all about making you do the hard work in actually managing your transactions and organising your transactions and then taking big decisions. What we're doing at Starling is actually taking that hard work away from you. We're making it quite, well, if we're invisible, if it all happens in the background, if you don't have to do the hard work, wouldn't life be much simpler?
We're going to try and fight over the sounds of the construction work that seems to be going on outside. So, who's it for? Who's this bank aimed at? What's your kind of key person?
This bank is aimed at the people who live their life on the mobile phone. That's the person who's walking down the road at present, looking at their mobile phone, rather than where they should be going. So that is the sort of person we're aimed at, in the person that actually uses their mobile phone for their music, their shopping, everything else in their life. And now we're bringing banking in a whole new way to that mobile.
So the whole new way, that kind of nicely segues onto this next question. You say that you guys don't act like a bank. What exactly do you mean by that?
Okay, in a traditional bank, we have the situation where there are lots of different departments, and lots of different departments preventing the customer getting what he or she wants. We don't have those different departments in Starling. We don't have a technology department versus a marketing department versus an operations department. We work in a very agile, very creative way as teams. And, technology does not exist as a department. We're all technologists. We're all talking to customers. What really matters is talking to customers and building something really differentiated.
That sounds great.
I'm going to sign you up for a candidate.
Yeah, well, the last question is how do we get involved?
Okay.
So you're kind of part of this Challenger Bank movement, along with a number of others. What sets apart a Challenger Bank to a more traditional bank?
I think the word Challenger Bank is used, not very well in the industry. Sort of people, organisations such as TSB and Williams and Glyn's were termed Challenger Banks. I think that we call ourselves a next-gen banks. We are actually the next generation of banks that are really responsive to customer needs. And I think that we see ourselves as a whole movement bringing something new to customers. The market's very big. The market is very concentrated in the traditional banks. And we, as really a group of banks, are going to offer differentiated services to customers which should improve their lives.
Fantastic. And how do you see the kind of the future, 5 years, 10 years? What do you expect to see with new entrants coming in, with challenger banks or the neobanks? How do you think customers are going to respond? And how do you think they're going to accept these new institutions?
But we have no intentions of just becoming a little Lloyds or a little Barclays. We think that the market is going to change and reconfigure, as well as disrupting the banking industry. We hope we're disrupting the business models of this industry. We're not going to replicate everything a traditional bank does. We're going to have one part of the value chain where we can do something really, really add value and really do it at scale. It's all about focus. You can't spread yourself too thin. If you focus, you can do something really well.
So what does it come with? If I sign up, what do I get? What do I get my hands on?
You get when we launch, and we'll be doing alphas and betas probably this year and launching probably next year. You get an app and you get something real special with it. You have to wait for that.
The tease still goes on. Okay, so we've talked about it enough. When does it go live? When can anyone?
Well, please sign up now.
Yeah.
Okay, we want to get people involved. We are part of this community. We're part of the fintech community. We're part of the group of people, the new sort of next gen banks that are changing this industry. And we want people who are interested in the industry to sign up now, and we'll be in touch and tell us how you can help us.
So how do they do that? Where do they go?
They go to the website, which is starlingbank.com.
Starlingbank.com.
Okay. Yeah.
And how do people? Do you have kind of a community or a Twitter or something that people can?
Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter in Starling Bank, and we'll soon be launching our community where you can join in and help us to develop a product which we're launching next year.
Fantastic. Well, I hope everyone found that very insightful. Once again, we are filming here at the House of St Barnabas, which is a charity aimed at getting people who are on the streets in employment and back on their feet. If you think that that's a charity worth giving to, please check out the link in the bottom of the video. And stay tuned for the next Spotlight, which will be coming out in the next 2 weeks. It's bye from me, Jamie Campbell.
Bye from me, Anne Boden.
Ta-ra.